Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some pretty exciting PlayStation 5 news because they've actually been breaking some pretty big records and hitting some really big milestones. So we have to go give a nice little claps off to PlayStation for that, as well as also hope you guys just had a very nice, relaxing Sunday or just overall good weekend. I know a lot of you guys out there are still trying to go find your PS5s and Xboxes, so hopefully we'll have some very good news all throughout this next few weeks. So as all, I'll keep you guys updated as well. So make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on, or make sure you guys are subscribed for the PS5 giveaway, either or. What is it, the Amazon links down below if you guys want to go check and see for warehouse sales or whatever. And of course, also the Twitter and Twitch stream down below, and also the Weeble. Sign up for Weeble, deposit $100. You guys go get free stock, free money, and Coinbase. You guys go buy $100 worth of any cryptocurrency. You guys go and get free Bitcoin. But like I said, hope you guys just had a really nice weekend. This video, we're going to be talking about the fact that Sony has basically done two really crazy things, as well as kind of took over even Nintendo and Xbox as well in a few various aspects, and just overall very good news. We actually kind of start off this weekend with some kind of bad news when it comes to the PS5, but to kind of wind down the weekend, we've had some very good news overall. So let's go and dive into it and talk about it. It's gonna be a combination video of like two kind of separate topics put together. So if you guys want, you guys can also use the timestamp down below and check out the other ones as well. But like I said, some pretty good news. They're winding down the weekend, so let's go dive on into it. So two kind of major things we want to go and cover on the video itself. So basically for this, we now have confirmation that the PlayStation 5 has already outsold the Vita, which is kind of the more important thing because it's kind of competing with itself, the Wii U and the Dreamcast. So at least as of right now, we know the PlayStation 5 is not a failure of a console, because at least it beat out all these other failures of consoles, which if anything, it's more surprising on how badly the PS Vita did, and also how badly the Wii U did as well for a Nintendo console especially. The Dreamcast, well, that's a little bit more of an older console, so it kind of makes more sense. But overall, at least we know that PlayStation competing against themselves with the Vita, at least they've been doing pretty good. So we're going to start off with this, kind of talk about this news where the PlayStation 5 has already outsold Sony's PlayStation Vita, Nintendo Wii U, and Sega Dreamcast in the UK, despite all, the issues and restock issues and all that kind of crazy stuff going on. Ships still having issues, things on fire, whatever it is. And according to Christopher Dring, head of the game industry biz, the PlayStation 5 is still selling well, which is really good to hear. And I mean, it's kind of a also duh, because every single time these things go in stock, they're off the shelves instantly, even in the United States, UK, or whatever it is. Just the issue is just they just don't make enough of them because we all want the stupid consoles. But basically, as of right now, the number is actually pretty big because they actually have fully went and sold more than the PS Vita. So basically, it sold over the 700,000 mark, which is, I would say, pretty good. But overall, for just a pure portable console throughout its entire life cycle, or even same with the Wii U, I'd say it's pretty bad. I would love to hear your comments down below on that. But I just feel like overall number-wise, it's just not good for those old consoles, but very good for the PlayStation as well. But basically, the PlayStation 5 is already over the figures for all these three major consoles. But of course, it's still facing some pretty big stock shortages, which everyone knows about. We've been covering that up a lot. We're trying to do a lot of the restock coverage up on the channel itself. And hopefully, Sony is going to keep on making more, producing more, and sending more on out. And typically, as you guys all know, whenever a new batch shows on up, it basically goes and gets sold out pretty much instantly as well. Which is also kind of funny too, because if you guys even look at something like Outriders, literally 52% of the sales on the game were on the PlayStation 5 in the UK as well. So basically, you guys can also kind of go and see the comparison and how well the UK is doing, and pretty much in how many people are actually buying these brand new games on all these consoles. So I feel like that's, if anything, that's a massive milestone right there for Sony, that basically one had a chance to go now pass up old software already that was out for many years. And after the stock was updated for the current generation consoles, both the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series managed to outsell the Nintendo Switch in March, which we're going to go talk about there in a second. But if anything, at least they're finally taking at least a little bit of a foothold away from Nintendo, which I think is very good. And of course, I think the demand, at least for the PS5 and Xbox, is a little bit higher, at least on the Nintendo Switch. Typically, at least if they have the stock available. But we also have a secondary article over here to kind of go and kind of more ramp on that subject, to kind of bounce off of that, where literally the PlayStation 5 has now had its second biggest month so far in the UK in terms of sales. So very good news all around for the PlayStation 5. So PlayStation 5 was basically the best-selling console in the UK for the second month in a row, which is kind of like, I think, a duh. I think all of us already know that the PlayStation 5 and Xbox, both of them are doing extremely well, But of course, we always mention the major issues that they just don't have enough being made to satisfy the stock, and then scalper issues, etc. We cover that all the time on the channel. You guys know what I mean. But basically, yeah, Sony actually has had now 2 months in a row where it's now been done and fully taken on over. They taken over the entire console market so far, which has been very, very good. So basically, there's new stock of PlayStation X and S's, which also had some pretty big boost up in the UK, and also Nintendo, for the very first time in quite a few years, is now up in 3rd place in console sales. And that also kind of maybe goes and solidifies on why Nintendo wants to start working towards its own Pro Edition, because these numbers are going to probably keep on going more and more down as more and more consoles like the PS5s and Xboxes are being made and developed and sold. And, well, who wants to go buy a 4-year-old Nintendo Switch when realistically they either already have one because it's been out there for such a long time, or they just want to get the better, newer thing if they had the chance. But a lot of people are still liking the Switch, getting the Switch, etc. But I still think that kind of goes and puts a little bit of a, spark for Nintendo to try to get work towards the Nintendo Pro, if anything. But yeah, however, the Switch sales continue to go trend upwards, which kind of makes sense because people just want something to do. They want to go play games, etc. And the console is up 13.6% over the first 3 months of 2020. So even now, people are still buying more Switches in general, like to the previous Switch years, which to me is kind of insane. Like, I would think if anything, it'd be more so the first like 6 months of the pandemic, but it still keeps on going up, which makes no sense. As well as also a lot more people were also doing a lot more physical games in console sales, which is actually kind of nice too as well. Or most of that's for last year too, but basically for now, it looks a little bit better. So you guys can kind of go and see. Actually, I completely misread that. I looked through like the 2021 and 2020 and mixed it up. Basically, 2020 was a good month for all the sales because everyone was kind of bored at the start of the pandemic. And as of now, apparently it just doesn't look as good. My mistake on that one. But sorry, I'm already like checked out on Sunday. I'm like ready to go and be comfy and chill for the night. And also apparently it was over 200,000 game consoles, panel retail data, not upweighted, were sold in the UK over the past 4 weeks to, that's actually kind of a little bit lower than I actually somewhat expect overall. And apparently, yeah, it's actually a little bit of a lower number compared to 2020. If anything, though, that just makes more sense in my head. I was kind of thinking that like looked a bit weird off, or basically would make more sense when the lockdown started. Everyone would be like, yes, I'm finally splurging again a Switch. Even my sister did that, so makes sense. Sorry about that mistake. In terms of box software, just over 1 million games were sold during March, which is actually kind of seems kind of low. More so if I ever kind of want to maybe look at more digital sales. But I guess it's still like a pretty big solid chunk if you go and factor in every game is like $60, $70, depending on whatever it is. Which is funny enough, actually down 20% over the last period, which all, of course, also, once again, makes sense. With the Nintendo Switch also being dominating the charts with March, with Animal Crossing. Still one of the best games. I just wish I had more content. The best-selling game of the month for 12 months after launch, which is nothing short but impressive to go beat out Mario games and Zelda games, especially on the Nintendo console. Was also funny enough, the Super Mario 3D World's actually been doing so good, but I'm almost more surprised that Monster Hunter Rise is so low in comparison to even Animal Crossing, because that was kind of like a little bit of a hype up brand new release. And of course, Mario Kart's just always there. I don't know how these games keep on getting bajillions of sales, probably just kids, but it's insane, boys. And the only other game that's actually still out there that was competing with the Nintendo games for these types of games being bought was the actual Spider-Man Miles Morales. It's all around kind of cool. And then one other area of the industry that did grow was also the accessories, which would absolutely make a lot of sense. Mainly because when it came to accessories themselves, like people are now starting to actually finally get their PlayStation 5s or Xboxes. So now they can kind of easily go and buy the controllers, headsets, or whatever, because they literally have the console to go and buy this stuff in the first place. So that kind of definitely makes a lot of big sense on how it keeps on continually rising and rising and rising. But I'm sure at some point it'll probably start dipping down or kind of have like, ups and downs depending on sales and stuff like that. But of course, also apparently, as I even mentioned, Sony was the #1 accessory provider for March, kind of like once again, because people probably are finally getting their PlayStation 5s and can now actually go and get the things, headsets, controllers, etc. in comparison to as well, for, let's say, someone who just doesn't have a console. I mean, it's kind of a big duh, but you guys know what I mean. But yeah, this was driven by the accessories for the PlayStation 5, with also the controller, which apparently, I'm finding out they actually count the controllers as an accessory, but then here's even the headset at number 5 and the charging station at number 7. If you guys want to go have a quick little glance, you guys can kind of go and see the top 20 games over here. Apparently, this is from January, a little bit more on the outdated information, but everything else is pretty much up to date, which I kind of find surprising that Animal Crossing is still doing so well, and also, once again, the Super Mario World. Actually, if anything, this actually might not be the same right thing, because literally Monster Hunter Rise just came out, so maybe this is all more, they just did it wrong in the article. Apparently everyone's getting that stuff wrong today. But it's kind of cool to kind of go and see the numbers that at least Sony is kind of keeping on up. But it's also almost kind of somewhat sad that this is a game that's been out for such a long time already. I think this game is kind of good. I don't know. We just need more Sony games, apparently, boys. Give us new games so we can go and play them. But also, apparently, it's just all Nintendo on the top. That's insane. Like Monster Hunter, you know, Animal Crossing, etc. It's kind of nuts. But it's kind of cool to also see some things like Ring Fit Adventure still up on number 11. FIFA at number 7, that's pretty good. We literally have even Pokemon Sword. This game came out years ago as well. Dude, Nintendo just prints money, boys. Like, these games came out like 4 years ago, and they're still the 14th top biggest seller. That is insanity, man. That's insanity. But kind of all around good news everywhere. Kind of good news, I think, for the gaming everywhere. Nintendo's still doing pretty good. Xbox and PlayStation sales are going up. PlayStation's literally going and hitting new sales records as well and hitting brand new milestones. I gotta give everyone credit. Like, big claps off to everyone. I think everything's going kind of good. The one major issue, though, is still making more consoles and, like, you know, delivering more consoles for us to actually go get them. But other than that, everything seems kind of good news. So major thumbs up for everyone. Very good weekend as well for news all around for all these lovely consoles. So good stuff. If any of you guys are still on the lookout for the consoles too, make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on, just because we're all going to be doing a lot more tracking this weekend for all the PlayStations and the Xboxes themselves. So be on the lookout for that tomorrow, or be subscribed for the PS5 giveaway. We have the Amazon links down below for the disc and digitals, the Twitter and Twitch stream if you guys want to follow, and of course the Weeble. Sign up for Weeble, deposit $100. You guys go get free stock and free money, and Coinbase, you guys go buy $100 worth of any cryptocurrency. You guys go and get free Bitcoin. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Very good news all around, and hopefully we'll have even better news tomorrow. Love you guys on. I'll see you guys up on the next one, my homies.